Last week on the Poisonrana Patreon, we talked all about WCW, The Last Nitro, in a brand new episode of Reviews from the Six.
If you lose this match, then I'm gonna take that blonde piece of ass or whatever, and they're gonna have to get a tattoo. And then Stacey's like, What makes you think I put Stacy up for that? And he goes, I wasn't talking about her.
One of the only times on the show that they show last week on Nitro.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure they set this match up thinking there's going to be more Nitros. And now they're coming to book the final Nitro.
This shit.
And they go, oh, fuck, we promised a Bam Bam Sean Stasiak match.
We have to deliver. We promised.
We have to deliver what we promised.
I think we should bring back tattoo matches because I felt robbed after watching this.
Get this show plus NXT retro reviews, wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more over at patreon.com/poisonrana, and it's only $5. So what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Poisonrana.
Hello. Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman for Poisonrana. It's Sunday, the Frog's Day, the Lord's Day.
And it's coming home.
It's coming home. Yes, we are live right now on our YouTube page. If you're listening to this maybe podcast form or on the replay, search Poisonrana in YouTube, hit that subscribe. We haven't gone live on a Sunday in quite a while, is because there was some vacations. Your mom was visiting. We had pay-per-views on Sundays. That also messed things up.
Yeah.
We like the Sundays pay-per-views, but that's for another time to chat. So we actually haven't done a show live on Sundays. Of course, you may have caught us on Tuesdays over on the Post Wrestling feed. We will be back on Tuesday, but we're back here on a Sunday. So
in the greenhouse.
That's right. In the greenhouse. It's hot. Yeah. It's the heat wave is still in the six. NXT came here with the heat wave. They went back to Florida, but the heat wave stayed because it is very, very hot in the summer. So I guess we shouldn't complain because, a few months ago there was like blizzards, snow and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. I prefer this over anything, even if I'm sweating my what's off. So welcome to the show. If you're new to us, hit that subscribe in the podcast app and follow us on all the socials at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter and Instagram. But we're going to chat about some wrestling, and we're going to chat about everything. And I mean, the elephant in the room. We got to talk about the biggest thing, the biggest worldwide, Shrek 5.
And Toy Story 5, the same.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shrek story.
We're also getting Donkey the movie.
Donkey the movie?
Yeah.
I've got to admit, I'm not the biggest Shrek fan.
You got to be converted.
I think I watched Shrek 1 like way after all the hype.
Right.
I got really hyped up. And like, I don't know, you have your WWE guys, you have your AEW guys. I'm a Pixar guy, all right?
Like Pixar definitely still, those guys definitely know what they're doing. But I'd say Shrek is
DreamWorks have some good stuff.
Yeah.
Prince of Egypt slaps.
We were out literally. You weren't there for the conversation. We were out with a bunch of buddies like a week or two ago, and we went out to a bar, and a bunch of us went out for a smoke, and you were inside, and someone brought up Shrek, and someone went, "Oh fuck yeah, Shrek," and I'm like, "Oh, Davey doesn't really like Shrek," and it was Trav. He went like this, like I had told him you were like a racist. You were. Like, we'll convert them. But yeah, that's the biggest news in the world.
Other big news I think you might think we're talking about is the biggest miss that happened yesterday on US soil. Yes, Alphonso Davies missing the penalty. Canada were this close to getting that bronze medal in the Cup for America. But I'm proud of them. They did well.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Oh, boy. Yeah. We'll talk about some wrestling. You got to get to the game. The game is at 3 today.
It's at 3.
England.
I'm nervous about bars filling up.
Right.
No reservations anywhere really, unless you're dropping a G.
Right.
I've got some friends going to try and hold down the fort. I've told them, order plenty of stuff for the table so they're not getting pissy.
Right.
But yeah, I'm nervous, excited.
Who are they playing?
Spain. It's going to be tough.
That's a tough one, but hopefully it comes home for you. The 3 lines. I had some Vindaloo this week for you.
Oh, yeah?
So the luck is in your favor.
Where on earth are you from?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
from England.
But yeah, we're going to chat about some wrestling. We're trying to make it a quick show so you can get out of here and make it to the game. But we also had the Trump assassination attempt,
Yeah.
which is probably what you thought we were going to talk about a little bit. Pretty crazy. We're two, you're a Brit, but you're technically a Canadian now. We take you as our own. So it's like watching our neighbor, and the neighbor things bad always keep happening.
Yeah.
They keep fighting in public. The cops keep getting called on them. That's what it's like being a Canadian. It's like, oh, these guys again. And for the news in the last few weeks has been nothing but like, hey, these are the 2 guys, and one of them's going to be president by November. And again, as Canadians, we're like, that's the best you got.
It's fun.
And then things just turned up to a whole other level with yesterday at the Trump rally. Someone fired some shots, and Trump got shot in the ear. Which, I mean, by the time you're listening, this is everywhere. Everyone was on their phone.
His wig didn't fly off.
Yeah. Okay. So like, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, someone did die, and then also I believe the shooter has died. So if an innocent person was in fact killed in this, that's fucking terrible and awful. However, is Trump I don't know how to put this. I'm not saying Trump is the kind of person who would drop down and blade like Punk at Wembley. You know what I mean? Like, is it so far-fetched? And again, I'm just saying a what if. Again, I understand someone has died. It sucks. But what if we looked at this? I don't know if anyone else there watches The Boys, but this season, specifically this season, is very eerie to what has happened yesterday. That's all I'm going to say. It's very, very like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So The Boys in the show, basically Homelander's president he's not, but he basically is. And they stage a lot of things to build up his credibility. Also in The Sopranos, I'm pretty sure there was an episode where Tony got Paulie to make sure you don't kill him, but it makes it look like there was an assassination attempt. These things happen. So is it too crazy to
Dwayne in the year of the Hall of Famer, and it's like, you know what? I'm not happy even if a portion of the country are unsatisfied with the direction we're going here.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is going to get him a lot of fans.
I mean, okay, so like first thing that came to mind.
You want the guy who's asleep or the guy who pumped his fists in the air after getting shot?
Look, I hate.
I mean, it's fucked. It's fucked either way. But
I'm Canadian, so really, what does our opinion matter? But it's like, look at these 2 options, and I'm not saying I'm a Trump fan like at all, but he got up, staged or not. This guy got up with color, and fist pump. I don't care. I fucking hate Trump. That is the hardest shit I've ever seen. That is gonna be your
t-shirts.
Your worst aunt or uncle is gonna have this like on their hoodies and shirts and mugs for the rest of your goddamn life. You're gonna see this picture and different variations of it for the rest of your life.
It looked like it fell apart. Like a go home promo.
The hard cam was, I mean, he was doing a speech, but like, bro, this is so crazy that like, yeah, okay, I've watched it enough times that I'm like, this is crazy. People are like, oh, it wasn't a bullet, because if it was, it wouldn't have went into his brain. It like clipped him in the ear, yada yada. Oh boy,
there's so many things now. Like, you can't just accept everything you see online.
Yeah.
Especially when like I was working at the time when this is blowing up. You just, I don't know, think it's Photoshop or stuff like that. I had the same reaction when I saw Josh Briggs was in the N1. I'm like, is this real?
Chopped.
What is this?
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, okay, of course, like shootings are terrible, but the U.S. has a shooting like every day, and people always die. In fact, Trump is someone who is very, very pro guns. I hate guns in any way they're fucking used. I don't think they're really needed.
Fucking lame.
Yeah, they suck.
So your pussy.
It's kind of strange that like it's gonna make the Trump heads be like, oh, are guns bad or are guns good? But they shot at him. Like, he's our guy. Also, it's crazy that it took this long for someone to finally try this shit on him, because like since the beginning of him entering politics, that was always something people brought up. We're only a day removed, and it looks like the news are trying to figure out of like.
Did you see the BBC interview with that guy?
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, I saw him up there for like 3 minutes. I let people know, and they were like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah. So again, there's going to be for the rest of eternity, people will be, oh, it's a work and it's a stage and this and that. It's like I I'm not saying that it is, but I would definitely listen to some conspiracy theories. I would hear people out. I would hear people out because there's always been conspiracies about everything, whether it's the JFK shooting, whether it's like whatever. So I do find it like I'll entertain the possibility, but I am still under the belief that this was an assassination attempt. But if anyone were to argue and say, hey, this is this and that, because bro's winning now. It's over. Like that's it. Jimmy Kimmel, you better run to Canada come November, because like, oh boy, this is the like I said, the most American hardest shit ever. And I do not like Trump at all. So
Oliver Stone needs to start making the film, doesn't he?
yeah, they're gonna make so much money. Like Trump better be selling. I thought he was gonna show up at UFC last night. The show was earlier, so he didn't make it. Like he would have, that would have been it. But I'm all ears for the conspiracy theories about this. But damn, I've watched it a bunch, and the memes are incredible. Like everyone's posting, the only way Biden's winning is if he pulls a Vince McMahon getting in the limo.
Yeah.
Like he's done. He's totally. If he wasn't cooked already, because he can't even finish a damn sentence and doesn't know who his vice president is or anything. Like now it's over, because like everyone has sympathy, right? That's the easiest thing. And now this guy, triple deeped a bullet through the head and got up and fist pumps. So yeah, that's it. I think he's winning. There's no debate.
I thought he was.
Yeah,
To be honest.
yeah.
Just that feeling you get. The world is a weird place, especially that country just below us.
Yeah, I mean, he's a WWE Hall of Famer. He knows how to work the crowds. Maybe he learned a little bit about gigging,
Yeah.
blading.
Oh yeah.
And sliced his ear a little bit, and that's it. Gets the sympathy card. Look, the guy's gonna walk around like he's Tupac for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
He's gonna act like I dodged this shit and I'm still here. So yeah, get used to that, because I'd say this will go down in history. But if he's president, I don't know how long they'll have left of history. So we'll see what happens.
Like on a completely separate thing, I find it fucked that once you get to a certain age, they take your driver's license away from you because you're too old, but here's some nuclear codes. Like I feel there's going to be like laws with that. Like once you're at a certain age, maybe and I know it's kind of it's been like pretty traditional that the president's an old fucking man.
Right.
But yeah, wouldn't it just make sense to get someone like in the prime of their life?
Yeah, like even if the guy's like 60,
Like 40 to 60.
should be like
Not these fucking old men
yeah. It's been
who are going to impose these laws and die
it's been sad
before they
watching
like come through anyway.
yeah, it's been like
Oh,
WWE.
it's pathetic.
And now
it's
it's
really fucking pathetic.
yeah, it's very, very strange. So I mean, this guy's clearly gonna the way the storyline works. Clearly, the people above are clearly doing a long-term build here and plan this storyline out, because it's Trump again. Easily, like you just look at that image with fist in the air with the American flag and the security agents who.
I'd be interested because Biden put out, as most people would do,
Yeah.
even if you hate the guy and they're your competition or whatever, but was like, I hope President Trump's okay, and I don't I condemn this and all that. The shoe's on the other foot. I would just love what Trump would have said.
I just look at all the people, the
Fake bullets, like
Yeah.
he'd have been playing into these conspiracies. Like that speech would have been, and now this guy, he loses the debate, so what does he do? Like, that would have been the
well, then Trump's people are just smarter. It's like come up with this idea again. Watch like the boys. Their whole like how to get voted is like they do all these like fake staged acts to get like the sympathy and the people behind them. Like it's very eerie of how similar that is. But yeah, I mean, if this is a PR stunt, then like wow, well done, because you just got him elected for sure. So pretty wild stuff. So and again, we're just watching this like, shit's crazy down there. I don't know. It's great. I'm intrigued because people for years always looking at the JFK stuff or any kind of assassination attempt or conspiracies, and now we got one in real time And it's like, man, we just can't go a day without something happening. It's all entertainment, really, I guess. But Godspeed, America.
Yes.
We're here for you. I mean, not that like we're doing any better, but like we are, I guess. Yeah, in a weird way. So yeah, Godspeed.
UK is looking more promising now.
All right.
So,
That's good.
Yeah.
Just take the guns away, because everyone's talking about like, oh look, Trump almost got killed.
No, but you don't understand.
You guys don't have
If you didn't have the guns, you wouldn't have had the guns stopping the gun.
right?
You forget about that gun.
This is true.
Yeah.
Just like there's fucking shootings and kids dying every day in the States, but this one obviously is Trump. So
Yeah.
it's up for the big one.
Bit of housekeeping. You might have heard at the top of the show, we did release our WCW The Last Nitro review. Us joined with Jesse from the Six, talking all about the final episode of WCW Nitro. We talk a lot about the documentary that just came out, Who Killed WCW, give our theories on who killed WCW. We also plot our own invasion, how they could have made that work, and discuss what the Big Bang pay-per-view would have looked like if it had gone ahead.
Yeah.
Great show we had there with Jesse.
Yeah, absolutely. For any WCW fans or anyone who watched the Who Killed WCW, this was a great little companion piece. We definitely discuss that series as well, and dive into the tattoo match, the Filthy Animals, Chavo Guerrero, and so much more on the last Nitro. So it was also, the last Nitro was a pretty good show.
Yeah.
They went out with a big bang.
The Cruiserweight showed up.
Yeah.
We also, as it is Shark Week, is today the last day of Shark Week, or did it finish yesterday?
Oh, true. Yeah, I guess today is the last day.
Yeah. Happy last day of Shark Week,
Yeah.
guys. Light that final shark candle on you.
Blow one more shark up.
Yeah.
Without it.
Well, we had a hell of a show this week.
Yes, we put it to you, the Facebook group. If you're not in there, join, search for Poisonrana in your Facebook. And we put it to a tadpole, and you all voted unanimously for Sharktopus. Now you may be asking yourself, what the hell is a Sharktopus? Well, if you Google it, you can watch it for free on Tubi, because that's where I watched it. Shout out Tubi. And shout out Eric Roberts, the star of this movie, everyone's favorite actor, who might have the longest IMDb list ever. And that's just for his 2024 movies.
Yes.
He's not, he doesn't say no, I don't think, ever.
It's crazy how many how many films this guy is in. It's ridiculous.
So we reviewed Sharktopus in all its glory, and we discuss sharks and octopus and everything that comes with this movie. And we also do some shark facts as well. And we found out that we have a new favorite shark, the goblin shark.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a made-up creature. The goblin shark is one of the custiest looking creatures on God's green earth. This is the scariest looking shark ever. And
Terrifying.
we talk about it, we dive deep into that. So shark fans, you want a good laugh, this is a review for you. So you get those two shows plus everything else. What are we doing this upcoming week?
Hopefully, to celebrate England's win of the Euros, we're going to look at a classic British comedy with our world champion patron, Cameron, who's picked an episode of Only Fools and Horses. It's one of the most successful British comedies of all time. Ran for years and years, and he's chosen one of the 1 hour specials, an episode from season 8 called Time on Our Hands. This is all pretty easy to find online. I believe a lot of it's on YouTube or like your free, like Tubi's and that kind of thing. So give it a watch. It's a pretty fun show, Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, I mean, I knew about it, but then, you know, since being roomies with you, you've definitely showed me a few episodes. I recognize the actors, and I recognize that it's such a, like, they've done specials and they're basically like, I think Canadians, we have the McKenzie brothers, Bob and Doug McKenzie. They're like our lower rent version, which to me they're Canadian heroes, but it's almost like those guys are your British comedy duo.
Yeah, it's normally on the boats. It's like 40 Towers or Only Fools and Horses, the greatest British comedy.
Right.
It ran for years. It was just like traditional seasons, and then they would just do these hour-long specials, normally at Christmas every few years. Great fun. And to round off the month, we've got our favorite cowboy, Brent Nickel, has picked Hot Rod for us to review.
Lots of comedy this week month, I guess.
And then we're going to have a special guest from What Culture Michael Hamflett will be joining us as we go into SummerSlam. And I'm going to throw up the poll probably tomorrow on Twitter for which SummerSlam we're going to review. But I can let you know it is between SummerSlam 1994, featuring Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in a steel cage match.
Oh, yeah.
And The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. We're also going to be also in the poll is SummerSlam 1995, which features the second less talked about Shawn Razor ladder match.
Yes. Rematch.
Also, we have SummerSlam 1999, an out of body experience.
Okay.
That was the slogan that year. Strange. Featuring a Lion's Den weapons match between Ken Shamrock and Steve Blackman, and Austin versus Mankind versus Triple H with special guest referee Jesse Ventura. Or is it SummerSlam 2013 featuring CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar and John Cena versus Daniel Bryan?
One of the best SummerSlams ever.
Awesome. Definitely of the modern era, even though that's 11 years ago now, which is fucked.
Crazy.
Very, great SummerSlam. So they're the four, I think, four great choices there. I'd be happy looking at any of them. So can't wait to chat with Michael.
Yeah, that's going to be a great show. We may be announcing a SummerSlam watch party for any Toronto listeners as well. So if you are wondering, maybe stay tuned for Tuesday. We'll definitely give you the full details. And Tuesday on the Post Wrestling feed, when we go live for Up Next, we may announce a special show that we have lined up.
Yes.
We have some show announcements that are going to be pretty awesome. So to give us, I'm pulling a Tony Khan. We have an announcement.
We're announcing an announcement.
Yeah, exactly. So Tuesday, get ready for that. We are going to announce something pretty fun. So
you'll never see it coming.
You'll never see it coming. No,
exactly.
You won't. Exactly. So lots of stuff. Poisonrana.ca for everything. But check out the Patreon if you haven't already, because there's so many shows up there. So many retro wrestling reviews and movie reviews, and it's only $5 to become a friend. So support your boys. And while you want to support your boys, chop-tees.com/poisonrana. Check out all the merch we got, including the button-up frog shirts. Man, thank you, anyone who's bought such amazing and ridiculous merch. Because Dickie Bird has just absolutely killed it with this stuff. It looks amazing, but people are actually buying this button-up shirt and sending in photos, and it's awesome. It warms my heart. So hope you all look good in them. It's a fly ass shirt. You look
the shorts are so comfortable.
Froggy style, baby.
So
yeah, I was rocking them yesterday.
Yeah, thank you for everyone who made use of the summer sale that Dickie put on for us. Lots of merch shipped that we can actually reveal. We've already sold more than we ever did in our entirety of pro wrestling seasons.
Yeah, all the love to PWT, but we have in 7 months we've done more with Chop Tees than we've ever done. Yeah. So thank you to anyone who's supported us and bought anything, and hats and t-shirts and button-up shorts. It's incredible. So the love is definitely real, and you're all looking fly. We love it.
Absolutely.
Froggy style, all summer, baby.
Shall we start with a bit of AEW Dynamite this week?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's jump into some AEW as our first topic, as we're on the road to Wembley yet again.
So kicking off the show this week, we had Bryan Danielson in a bit of a surprise, I think, defeating Hangman Adam Page in what is their rubber match, essentially, isn't it? I think they've got one win each and a draw. So Jeff Jarrett as the special guest enforcer. We've seen this match live, I think.
We were at one, I think, where Hangman got the win back.
Yeah.
I believe. Or Danielson got the win back. I can't remember now.
It was Danielson. It was the tournament.
Yeah.
So
this one was awesome.
This was great. These two have incredible chemistry. I'm so glad Hangman is back. But yeah, a bit of a swerve, pardon the pun. Yeah. But Danielson, Swerve Strickland is your Wembley main event. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this match was awesome. Definitely one of the best TV matches this year in any wrestling. Like, this was a free match. I think I'd watch Danielson and Hangman fight anytime.
Yeah.
Like, they have just fantastic chemistry. And
I think Hangman just perfectly matches his Danielson brutality.
Yeah.
You know, just the stiff, heavy strikes from both guys. Both are we'll take it as hard as you give it.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Both are like hard-hitting dudes, and then they definitely match each other's freak when it comes to hitting people. So I definitely like their chemistry. I like the new presentation of Hangman, especially with the stash. He's looking like Magnum TA and looking like a badass. I would say I'm not a biggest fan of the theme he's using. I know that's nitpicking, but
It's doing the heel thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? Right? Like it's you kind of take away what you love because you don't want them to.
yeah,
I think his like it's such a heroic cowboy theme, the one
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
before. So I definitely prefer his old
Of
one. But
course.
I think for this character it does work.
I think no matter what his Wembley match is, I think he's coming out to like whether it's Ghost Riders in the Sky again or like some Johnny Cash or something. But
I think it's Okada. I think
yes,
I think you had that little tease. You've got Hangman joining Blood and Guts now for Team Elite.
yeah,
You had Okada kind of holding him at the door of the
right.
at the dressing room. Okada's someone who you're also going, who is his opponent going to be? You can set it up with it all breaking down in the Blood and Guts match with Hangman maybe decking Okada or something
Yeah.
like that.
And that,
But I and that sounds a big match. And I know they faced in New Japan, but it was
Good
kind of a Hangman before leveling up to his peak. So I think that feels fresh, that feels big, and that feels worthy of Wembley.
that's definitely the match. When Kenny, it was kind of teasing that maybe he was coming back. I just assumed, fuck it, they just go to Kenny Okada one more time in Wembley. It's looking like that's not happening. Kenny's not coming back anytime soon. So that's really the next best thing with Hangman and Okada. Big stage, one big match. I think that will definitely work. It's weird because they're both heels. So it's like, all right, but either way,
it's whether like what you often see. Both have the potential to be so liked in their heel role that they're essentially a baby face anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think Hangman's coming across more overtly heelish right now because Okada's got the funny stuff going, bitch and all that. But I think they'll make this work either way, whatever the dynamics are.
Yeah, definitely will be an awesome match. But you mentioned Danielson and Swerve is now our main event set for Wembley Stadium, all in 2024. It's a surprise, but I'm kind of for it. I know for years he's been saying, "Oh, I don't want to be champion here," and just recently said it again. And then this happens, which kind of like makes you think maybe he was saying that to definitely like
throw you off.
Yeah, kind of tease there. But I think he should win. I think he should beat Swerve.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think you can.
Final countdown for sure.
Oh,
at Wembley.
100%.
You missed Wembley last year. He's definitely coming out this year.
Danielson is one of those wrestlers where you don't like they haven't really interacted with these two characters that much up till now.
Danielson's beat him before.
They had a dynamite match, I believe, which Danielson won. But yeah, Danielson's one of those wrestlers. You don't need much build. You throw up the match graphic, and I'm going, ooh.
Yeah.
And I think this sounds like a great main event. Definitely, I think they're doing a better job this year. I still, even though Dynamite's definitely picked up, I still haven't quite restored the feeling myself. I'm still not quite getting FOMO about this. I'm sure nearer the time I will. But I think so far they've built this show way better than last year.
Yeah, definitely building it and letting you know the match is kind of, we're over a month away and now you can kind of see the direction of a bunch of the matches. Whereas last year it felt a little muddy. And I'd say they did have some missteps here where it's like, holy shit, Danielson's in our main event at Wembley. And then right away Swerve comes out and basically like, I don't know, it didn't feel like they're still like, oh, but we have blood and guts. It's like, yo, fuck blood and guts, man. It played out. Let it go.
What I like though is I felt last year they were treating Blood and Guts like it was the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then once Blood and Guts finished, they were like, all right, let's book Wembley. Whereas now it's like Wembley is the main focus and we have a pit stop with Blood and Guts.
Like,
right. It's almost like, you have Elimination Chamber between Rumble and Mania. It's like that's happening, but the focus is still being
Blood and Guts is in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Where Wembley's obviously like over a month. So it's like, you're putting all your top stars in one match where it's violent and people jumping off stuff
and people get injured.
Like, knock on wood that nothing actually happens because that's kind of silly. Like even around WrestleMania time, WWE book house shows and stuff, but still, like you don't want your main stars going out there. So hopefully everyone's all right.
So Team Elite's complete now, and then on Team AEW so far we got Mark Briscoe and Swerve. That's it confirmed? I assume the Acclaimed. And then who would the fifth person be?
Danielson?
Danielson?
Oh, sorry.
Well,
because he's on. I don't know.
Darby coming back.
Oh, sorry. Darby did cut a promo, right? He said he forgot it. He beat up
That's
Butler
right,
or something.
yeah.
But clearly, it's Darby.
So Darby acclaimed Briscoe and Swerve.
yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then maybe Wembley is Darby scapegoat, Jack Perry.
That makes solid. Yeah,
Right?
that,
He lit him
that
on
makes
fire,
sense. Yeah,
stuff like
like some crazy hardcore match.
Yeah. With real glass.
Or with real glass.
Yeah, exactly.
On the kickoff show. Yeah.
Yeah, probably. So that's probably the direction
Yeah,
there.
that sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So like I enjoyed Dynamite actually. I've been enjoying. I thought this week and the last week were really good. Ospreay calling out MJF. That's clearly the match as well.
But we're getting that this week.
I have a feeling we're not.
I think we are, but I think we're getting it at Wembley as well.
I don't like that. They did that last year. They went, hey, here's Adam Cole versus MJF in a 30-minute draw, I believe. And then a few weeks later, I'm supposed to get really excited that it's the main event of your WrestleMania, your first WrestleMania, essentially. It was kind of weird, and I think took the buzz out of it. And I hope they
unless
screwy here.
Unless Ospreay is unless MJF Garcia is the Wembley match, and Ospreay they've got something else in mind for Ospreay.
I don't know.
I can't see what it would be.
I feel bad, like Danny Garcia teasing that match for him, and then obviously the beatdown was I guess part of the story. But then what would you do? Like him run in to help MJF lose? Essentially, would be the It's kind of just him left out in the air, and I think they really kind of fumbled him going back to the Jericho Danielson stuff with Garcia. Like they really kind of messed the trajectory of his career. And I wouldn't say it's crazy to think he watched Heatwave last week and went, I could be champ over there.
I believe I saw reported he's got quite a lot there.
Okay.
In his contract.
Okay.
But I think we get the 30-minute draw this week.
This week again, doing the same thing. I think that's like WWE. They do the Mania rematch. They never give you the match weeks before, and then it's so bizarre. That why would I pay for it if you just gave it to me for free, kind of thing. But hey, either way,
ratings.
Yeah, I do hope it ends in some.
And I think if it's not the main event, you've got other stuff you're drawing people in.
They've also announced Okada versus Swerve this week. Wow. So that's a pretty big episode.
Yeah, episode 250.
Yeah, big episode of Dynamite. So yeah, I mean, All In is definitely taking shape with those matches, and then kind of going towards the end of the show with the other side of the Owen Hart tournament, Mariah May winning the Owen, beating Willow here, and then in a bigger swerve than MJF beating up Garcia, we had Mariah May turning into Leatherface, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees with "Watch for the Shoe" inside your forehead as she proceeded to almost murder Toni Storm on TV.
I absolutely love this. I thought the match was good. I think Willow's just been fantastic.
Yeah.
I think she's such a key player in AEW at this point, and I like the match. I think Mariah May's been pretty impressive, all around. I think her wrestling, her character, and probably the best women's story we've had. I think in AEW. And I love this angle at the end. I love the brutality of it, the blood, Luther going through the table.
Yeah.
But you know what I really liked was it was so sudden. It wasn't posing, then standing behind, and then the face dropping and looking mean and then attacking. It was just holding up the belt, whack, and it completely blindsided you. I thought it was great. Only thing is you've got the Brit going into London as the heel.
Yeah.
What is with wrestling companies and doing this? We want to cheer you, and I know Tony's an honorary Brit kind of, but I know for the story it probably makes more sense that way. But I always find it funny. Last year, it's Saray as a heel, and they're going to put the title.
That's a big moment. And Ospreay was
Ospreay is the heel.
Yeah. Very weird.
So yeah, I thought that was a. What did you think?
No, I loved it. I mean, look, I've definitely been missing Jamie Hayter, and she's been gone for so long, and hopefully we get to see her show up at Wembley, at least show face there. But they've done such a great job of this story with Mariah being. They basically did the easiest thing. Okay, the main champion has a lackey, and then the lackey just decides to have a backbone. That's one of the go-to plays in wrestling. But I thought the swerve of having the Mina stuff. Then after the match, the three of them it's like, oh, this is just going to be going as a unit, and that kind of put the cloth over me.
Also,
Like,
the slow build of Toni accepting Mariah.
yeah,
Remember to start with it, Mariah was like, "Hey, will you be coming to see my match on Collision on Saturday?" And she's like, "Oh no, I've got a hair appointment."
Right,
She
right.
was always like blowing her off to start. Like the more Mariah was doing Toni started supporting her and became her biggest fan and was cheering her on in the Owen and that. So
yeah.
I thought they did it really well.
And then she murdered her
Yeah.
with the shoe. Like, so
Like,
much blood.
The blood was crazy. Like I thought that was probably the best women's angle we've had in AEW.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it definitely helped make Mariah
Absolutely.
a star right away if she wasn't already.
And you said about Jamie, I think even if she isn't healthy yet, have her come out with Britt anyway.
Right.
You know, like
Right,
Randy coming out with Cody at May.
Right,
You know,
right,
just like bring Rebel back as well. Just like complete the package,
Right.
even if it's just a one night thing. I think that will make that match with Mercedes, just entrance wise, feel big.
Yeah.
But
like, okay, so then obviously that's our next women's match too on the show is Mercedes versus Britt, right? And you know, we're broken record, but we've loved Sasha Banks, Mercedes, but her run here in AEW is a little flat, so much that now she is leaning into the heel character, and it's not even quite getting the reaction I think they want. Like they need to like have her do something so dastardly that she starts getting treated as a heel because it's kind of in this muddy like, you know, pick who you want to cheer for, boo for.
she's definitely like I think the thing is with someone the like star level of Mercedes is whether she's a heel or a babyface, she's always going to have her fans.
Yeah,
I think since the more like clear turn, she's been so much better.
yeah,
I think she just comes across like that's what the boss character started with, right? In NXT, that's when people were gravitating to her when she was just being the dick heel.
yeah.
And that's what she's best at. So I think they're cooking this story pretty well as well.
Yeah, I think that those are two solid, like all-in matches. as well.
I was wondering, just I'm looking at the rest of the card from Wednesday, and it made me think if we do have the proper match, MJF and Will Ospreay this week on Dynamite, and maybe Garcia comes back and costs MJF, you could do MJF be Garcia and Ospreay versus Pac, the two Brits. Pac was
Right.
at Wembley last year.
Right,
Like
that'd be a crazy
it would be
match.
a crazy match, and
Yeah,
and to give that like London crowd like a just a homeboy season. That could be something we're doing, perhaps.
yeah. I feel like he's been someone who's kind of like cooled off a bit. He always
He's needed
disappears.
Wembley. Like that's his whole thing, though. It's like which I quite enjoyed that 4-way this week, but he's gonna be on the show.
Right.
So, and he's won this title shot for the international championship. So, I mean, yeah, for sure, you can do it on a Dynamite or whatever. But what is Pac's?
That would be awesome.
So, I think that could be where we're going.
Like Garcia needs to be treated like a bigger star.
Yeah.
He's genuinely like kind of rised in so much, and then it almost feels like they're the ones who's fucked up his rise when the crowd have been kind of behind him. So if you do have him come out in this heroic fashion to beat up MJF, then it goes to them at Wembley, and then somehow you spin off Pac attacks Ospreay, and
Yeah.
then you
And
get
then you
two
can
good
do-
matches.
Yeah, you have Ospreay go over, and then you can have at All Out, you could do MJF Will Ospreay.
Right.
In the big match.
Yeah.
I think that might make more sense with what they're doing right now.
Because that feud, like I know you cut the promo on MJF, so it makes you definitely think
Yeah.
you're doing the match.
And then
so.
you've already got the feud going, so you can book that quickly in the 2-week turnaround.
Yeah.
I see that maybe being more the direction.
So honestly, like they're doing a way better job this year, at least letting you know in advance. This is kind of the direction we're going with some of these matches, announcing some of these matches beforehand. I think having Danielson Swerve as your main event is a very solid main event. And ever since Ospreay beat Swerve, I feel like it helped the credibility thing of like, well, their biggest.
Sorry, Swerve v Ospreay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Swerve beating Ospreay is like, oh shit, well, okay, then this guy is like our champ.
I think it was really smart booking. I think going into that match, you're going, okay, I'm excited, but
Yeah.
TK, you've kind of put yourself in a corner now. No, he's solidified. Swerve is our guy
Like-
right now.
I mean, there was like, the screwy finish, and there's the whole Don Callis stuff. And like, I don't know if it'll be Fletcher versus Ospreay at Wembley, but Fletcher Ospreay is definitely something that's going to happen again soon. But
Yeah.
that's all out as well. So I liked this episode. this week. I've been enjoying last week as well, and the week like they've been doing really better. My only critique is they're still like, oh, blood and guts. It's like, can we? I guess it's like a little pit stop, but it's
Yeah, as I said, it's like the chamber.
yeah,
In a
yeah.
way.
But I enjoyed this week, and I'm definitely hyped for All In.
Do we need to talk about Jericho Samoa Joe?
Oh, yeah.
A Wembley match when Samoa Joe comes back from the dead,
Yeah,
or is this the Stadium Stampede match? Are we going to get
right.
the learning tree again?
Yeah,
Like, what would it be? It would be Joe, Hook, Shibata.
There's three of the Jericho guys. First.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe's. I was seeing that Joe's. They did this angle where they put him through a drywall.
Yeah.
As he's filming.
Okay.
So maybe he might not be able to be back for All In. But I mean, that would be the match 3-on-3.
But like last year I think you've set that Stadium Stampede match on the Go Home show. You know, like if you can do the date, it's just have him come back. Like,
Yeah.
Because I don't see there being a singles match for Jericho, and maybe add 2 more people to his tree.
His learning tree.
Learning
Yeah,
tree.
we got the red. Big. What is it? The big red.
The redwood.
The redwood and the bad apple.
Yeah, put Mark Briscoe with Joe and the lads. Just
Yeah.
and
Put Dynamite Kid in there.
but yeah, we Benjamin. London Lightning.
London Lightning just because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
Fuck. Got a stable. Bret Hart. I saw him hanging out with Jericho. Clearly went to the Bret Hart bar, right? In Calgary, he was hanging out with the Hart and stuff. But I liked. I didn't necessarily think the drywall spot looked that great. I'm sure some people did because it's like kind of came out of nowhere. Jericho though, he used that forklift. Is he certified? Because you need a certification to do that kind of stuff. So Jericho, hopefully, heads will come after you.
You're also not really allowed to put humans through walls.
I really like this episode. I'm really looking forward to Wembley, and I think they'll do a better job this year. Even though I think it'll have between 40 and 50,000 people, which is still an insane amount of people watching wrestling. I think it'll be an awesome show. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And that's in like a month away. So I'm not saying I have like FOMO, but
I'm getting there. Though.
Yeah.
I didn't have a chance to watch Collision this week, and looking at the card, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to. I literally clicked play and then I realized I didn't have enough time, so I didn't get to check out Takeshita and Dynamite Kid because I probably will watch that at some point later today or tomorrow or something because that had my interest, but everything else on it didn't really draw me in there. So.
Well, talking of Takeshita, maybe that's a good transition to the G1, unless you have any other AEW.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, so Takeshita's been announced for the G1. Is that the same thing Josh Briggs is in? The N one.
It's a different concept.
F1?
Yeah, the N1.
There's too many ones. Ones.
The tournament starts, I believe, in just a few days.
Oh,
July 20th. So later this week. And we've got the blocks. In block A, Naito, Shota Umino, Shingo Takagi, Sanada, Great-O-Khan, Zack Sabre Jr., Gabe Kidd, Evil, and representing Noah, Jake Lee. And then in block B, Hiroki Goto, El Phantasmo, Yota Tsuji, Jeff Cobb, Panare, David Finlay, Ren Narita, Yuya Uemura, and Konosuke Takeshita representing AEW and AEW.
Yeah, A block sounds a bit more stacked, but B has some people maybe that like you're not super familiar with, like what is it, Bolton? Or sorry, Oleg.
Oh yeah, Oleg Bolton.
Yeah. Like I've heard some buzz about this guy, but I'm not super familiar. Same with Callum Newman.
From sorry, rounding up. I'm reading an old article.
Yeah. They've been added, and I'm like, okay, I'm not super familiar, but that's kind of also good for these G1s. They took out the MVP with Ishii, but after maybe Dynamite, his knees maybe need to break. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but hopefully his knee isn't broken. But he's out. And instead, they kind of injected some new blood. And I know for me, just as a fan, I'm like, New Japan has been like the coldest dead fish floating in the water for a while. And maybe even though this might like, oh, who are these people? I don't know, who's this? In a way, I hope they flip it and like you end up being like, oh, I've not heard of this guy, but you have to watch their matches. So
because of that, Block B is looking way more interesting.
Really?
I mean, I think Takeshita being in it, but I think Yota Tsuji I'm high on like Yoda-Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, and Ren Narita as like your your younger next generation guys who are in there. But I also think Takeshita, like Cobb always has one of those nights where he just shows up.
Yeah.
Like he's a bit hit and miss for me, but there's normally one match per tournament where it's just some like crazy heavy hitting match.
Yeah.
I think Cobb and Takeshita could be really good. I think Hanare and Takeshita could be really good. Goto's one of those old solid people I don't see going far, but I think he could do good stuff. El Fantasmo kind of shakes it up a bit with all the like cruiserweight style. I think it's a bit more interesting to me because it feels a bit fresher. Obviously on block A, the likes of like Shingo versus Zack Sabre Jr. Is going to be good. But yeah, I'm less into a lot of the characters in block A.
Okay, so like selfishly, the wrestling nerd, and like, okay, hopefully we get some bangers because G1 used to be like you get crazy matchups that are like matches you go back and rewatch years later. Exhibit A, Tomohiro Ishii. I don't know how many times we watched Kenny versus Ishii. One of the best matches fucking ever. There's so many classic G1 matches, and I feel in the last few years they haven't had that. They haven't had the match of the year from the G1 in a little while. And New Japan as a whole has been cold because the winner of this gets to face Naito. So it's kind of like really no one's winning because we got to watch this like Naito. Hopefully beat Naito, but like I don't think Takeshita is going to be propped into that position. It would be a whole left field kind of move and would be very interesting, but I can't see that that's what's happening. So who would you think is
normally I mean looking at it, I would like to have like either Shingo beat Takeshita in the final,
oh my god,
Zack versus Takeshita in the final.
Like they need to pull the trigger on Zack.
That's what I think. Normally though, you don't see like I see Takeshita, having the undefeated streak the first few matches and then fall and not make the finals.
Yeah.
Although I think looking at the list, he is the most interesting there. It's not for me, but they're like behind Finley, and if you wanted a heel, like not to win the tournament, but in the final for your babyface Zack or Shingo to go against.
Yeah, like the story, Naito's LIJ, and so is Shingo, so like you could have them face each other, which could like
I don't think that's possible because they're same block.
No. I'm saying like if Shingo were to win this thing, eventually face Naito, right? It's Losong Inganable versus each other, so.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Zack is going to have a less taxing match for Naito in a main event.
And there's also the night 2, which is the like AEW CMLL thing. Mm-hmm. So like that's where Takeshita, I'm sure, will definitely shine too. But New Japan's not doing too.
But my picks would be Zack or Shingo. I'm probably leaning towards Shingo, as you said. The LIJ thing kind of makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that starts soon.
Starts
July 20th?
That Friday, I think.
Wow, right? Okay, so that's going to go on for a
while. Are you entering the post-wrestling G1 contest?
I'm going to have to,
You should do it this year. Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to have to. Because,
for that's C block, right?
What's the C block?
C block is all the, like, post lads.
Right.
And lasses.
That's right. Yes, definitely. Postwrestling.com. So that's happening. Maybe that'll gain some interest for New Japan. There was, sticking in Japan, there was some interest over in Japan. Just before recording, I shout out Twitter because people were just uploading some of these matches, and I happened to check out AJ Styles versus Marufuji, which was pretty good. I think AJ got I feel like AJ looked online in the last year and was like, "The fuck you mean I'm washed? What are you talking about?" So then goes and has banger with Cody.
Just goes eating a lot of steak with Randy.
Just like, yeah. We'll say that's what he did.
Yeah.
Comes back looking like Jack Jesus and basically puts on some great matches. And then people went, oh, yeah, this guy was one of the best wrestlers in the world. Why are we saying this guy's washed? So WWE allowing him, like, this is crazy. Ever since Triple H is in charge, he's letting his wrestlers do other stuff. He's bringing in TNA. It's all over the place. It's the open portal, the open door, whatever. And AJ versus Marufuji just happened. And I'd say definitely recommend checking it out because it was pretty hard hitting. Obviously Marufuji is a little old. Hell, AJ too, but I still thought they worked a really good style. And AJ seemed giddy to do the match. Like
Nice.
he's been like waiting to do
But
the
just
match.
being in that environment again and
Yeah.
that kind of thing is pretty.
Yeah, but I also I didn't check out the rest of the show, but I might. And then the same with the Marigold show. I had enough time to check out my girl Io Sky. You know she gets me high, and I'm gonna butcher this name because yeah,
Ayashishida.
yes. Oh my God, definitely recommend this match. This is one of the best matches this year for sure. At least in like women's. I know Io and Bailey put on what I think was like one of my favorite matches this year, but this one might top it. Like 5 minutes in, Io kicked this girl in the head so many times. Her face was bloody, looking like Donald Trump for a minute there. I can't recommend this match enough, but I am gonna go check out the Julia match later this week because that also looked like it was pretty awesome. But Io Shirai returning to Japan outside of WWE and looking like just a badass, killing her. It was so good. So would recommend.
Awesome. Yeah, I want to check that out. I want to check out the Julia Saray match as well. I'll try and get around to that all this week.
Yeah, I definitely would recommend, and we'll probably chat a little bit about it on Tuesday on Up Next. But it was cool. So maybe we'll see more of these things where Triple H is. Oh, so then
we've got in the N1,
the
which
N1
is Noah's tournament. We've got Josh Briggs and Tavion Heights from NXT.
Yeah, I mean Josh Briggs, he's been wrestling on the Indies way before WWE. He's got a pretty hard hitting style that's kind of been kept secret in NXT. So I think he could really shine doing this kind of thing. But Tavion Heights just like being positioned in this group when Damien Kemp is kicked out, but released from WWE. I think sorry, let's say it the right way. Killed. I think this is a crazy opportunity, but from the little things we've seen from this dude, he will definitely be something. So I'm definitely going to be checking those out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool right now. Like now WWE are having their partnerships. It's like over at AEW, we've got AEW, Ring of Honor, kind of.
Yeah.
Stardom and New Japan. And then WWE has Noah, Marigold, and TNA. Like, it's kind of cool.
I think WWE will continue. I think Triple H will continue to do this kind of stuff where he's like letting people wrestle in other places and bringing other people in. Like they're going to definitely, he's realizing that adds like lore to the wrestling world and only helps. So,
and it gives people things to do when you're not using them.
Right
now.
Yeah.
Like AJ's just had his main event feud. So why not get some buzz elsewhere for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hopefully we get to see more stuff like that and crossover stuff. And I know New Japan's doing stuff with AEW, so there's probably not going to be WWE guys involved with that Tokyo Dome show. But I'd say never. There's a potential chance we will get AEW talent on the same show as WWE talent,
maybe,
in the next little while, if not soon. But and then also WWE seeing AEW talent and being like, she's really good. What if we had her?
Yeah.
And Stephanie Vaquer
Vaquer
is now in WWE and wrestled last night
that's crazy.
At a house show down there. So holy crap. They jumped on that. I wonder, people are saying it's because they saw her do that match and then right away like got her to jump ship. But I wonder if there was talks beforehand.
I mean, she'd had a tryout with them before as well.
Fair enough.
They're trying to like that sort of Latin American base. They're really trying to build up. Like you've got your Legado, your LWO, and like you got
Triple H is going to put her in that group.
And Cuba in NXT. Like they're definitely trying to. They're trying to have these big names from all over the world now. And and obviously the match with Mercedes was gonna help kind of fast track things. But
it's just crazy that like everyone's like, oh, Mercedes, Mercedes. And then you watch that match and everyone's like, yo, Stephanie, like she's the star now. So pretty nuts. And I'm sure we'll be seeing her maybe in NXT, like letting her be the champ there. And maybe Julia coming in. I know they've had some history before and stuff, but WWE is definitely looking good. But yeah, Triple H, please don't put her in the LWO for God's sake.
Just Legado instead.
Oh no, she can be on her own. Please don't just put them in all the stables.
Well, shall we move over to some WWE?
Yes, let's talk about it. Let's talk about how SummerSlam we might get this. I feel like this is targeted towards me because SummerSlam 2005
one of the best pay-per-views of all time, in my opinion, because it featured not only Sean jobbing for Hulk Hogan, but Dominic on a pole match. We've got it once. The custody of Dominic we've got in 2005. There's a chance we're getting the custody of Dominic yet again in 2024. And again, that just goes into the like nostalgia part where I'm like, yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it exactly how you did it. You got to get the lawyer involved. He's got to dye his hair blonde again.
It's that, but it's also the Eddie China stuff they're playing.
Exactly.
I've seen the side by side of like Dominic chasing after Rhea, like Eddie was chasing after China.
It's awesome.
It's great. I think, I think Liv's been doing really great work since returning from injury. I think it's the most fully formed character she's ever had. I still don't think she's the best in ring, but I think she's way, way better than she used to be. And it's WWE. It's mainly about the stories, it's the stories and the connection. Like it was crazy at Money in the Bank last week, how loud the arena was at times. And it's been like Mania was cool, but it's an open air stadium and that sound escapes. That's the loudest I've been in an arena show for a long, long time,
yeah.
I feel. And you just see how over these characters are and how something as simple as a yeet off is like, I love wrestling as well. And you can do like your flashy, crazy move sequences. But, WWE are like, just going and yeet works as well. And I think they've been doing such a great job with this, keeping Rhea's character alive through this injury. The Dom and Liv stuff has been really great. And Rhea coming back to like a monstrous reception. And obviously this is the SummerSlam match.
Yeah, absolutely. She should destroy Liv and win the title. Or is there more juice if you stretch it?
I think Dom stays with Liv.
Oh, yeah. Swerve. He's going to show up on Raw with the roses, right?
Yeah.
Like Eddie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like you got to do everything from the China Eddie playbook and then somehow maneuver into make it a ladder match.
Does Dom win the women's championship by accident? Does he get knocked
He's
out?
China?
Knocked out? No. Remember, like Eddie and China were feuding over the European.
Oh, European.
And Eddie gets knocked out and falls on top of China and pins her.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if they can quite do it that way, but
they'll figure it out.
It is funny how they're the comparisons there are great. That's clearly why he's grown out the mullet. But now also SummerSlam and like who has custody of him. It's like a whole full circle thing. Like just think, this guy is like, I don't want to say he's lucky, but he's fallen into some crazy storylines that have propelled him in the past like 2 years going now. He's been one of the like biggest characters going, and no one ever really talks about like, he had like the best match this week, or can he hit a really good looking Rana? But storyline wise, he's one of the most interesting characters and talked about, and most good for him is all I'm saying. Like he's really, and he had those nuggies the other week, which is like you're really going into it, the story. So
and then we had the Punk and Seth promo off this week.
Yes,
I think Punk just brings out Seth's best work. I don't know if it's because there is legit like animosity there that just fuels something a bit more in Seth and pulls him a little bit more out of his character and more into his self, tapping into something real. But I thought Seth kind of had him this week.
I think Seth definitely outshined Punk on the promo. But whenever Seth is going against him, he does like sound, because he's bringing up like you're always the one at fault, right? Like, oh, it's always poor you, and like it's never anyone else's fault. Essentially, bringing up AEW without bringing up AEW. Same with Punk being like, oh, there's people in the crowd over here on this side, to like no one reacting. Yeah, because it's mostly families at WWE, and they're like, I don't know what that means, because like there always is people at these shows. Yeah, but I like that, and obviously that's keeping that story on the back burner because that's your Mania match, like easily.
I would think so. I hope they're not going the triple threat route, because we just need Drew Punk one-on-one at SummerSlam. But then where does that leave Seth for SummerSlam?
Yeah, that's kind of like, what does he do? Put him in. Yeah, you're right. Where does that leave him? Maybe not on the show.
Maybe he's not fully healthy yet, and you put him in like a guest referee role for that match or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
because he does feel like you've got Priest and Gunther, Punk and Drew. Like who's the big kind of odd one out on Raw that Seth could go against?
Bring in Marufuji.
Yeah. Okay.
AJ again. I don't know. Like there's a few you could just throw a match to have a match unless, they don't usually do that.
No, it's especially now when SummerSlam's going to be more than 5 matches, I would assume.
Yeah. Of course.
Like they'll beef it up. But yeah, I'm not sure Seth's play. So I'm maybe seeing, if his knee isn't, because that was a pretty quick turnaround from.
I was shocked that he came back. Yeah.
And maybe it was like, I'm going to gut through this match, then I'll be on TV, but not necessarily wrestling so much. So it seemed maybe special guest ref or something.
Because he can't face Priest because he's facing Gunther.
Yeah.
Right. So that's true. What is Seth's place at SummerSlam if he has one? Maybe he can sit this one out.
Yeah.
Like he's had a pretty packed year. I'm pretty sure his knees and back won't mind if he chills for a little bit. But yeah, going forward, SummerSlam doesn't look that enticing to me, to be completely honest. I think Gunther winning the title is probably one of the coolest things we'll see from that. Hopefully he beats Priest. I think it's time for him to take that title.
It's Drew and Punk is the draw. And to an extent, Liv and Rhea, I think now.
Yeah.
I think we didn't know the timetable of Rhea's return, and I think that definitely kind of has the story interest. Over on SmackDown, you had we had Tiffany attempting a cash in on Bailey this week, and Nia kind of being like, "What the hell are you doing?"
BBL Bailey,
yeah.
Which, come on, she's not. She's calling her BBL, and Bailey's like, "Nah, I'm all natural, baby." Yeah. I mean, Bailey versus Nia is announced for SummerSlam, so I mean that's not the most exciting. We've seen it a million times.
But do we see a cash in?
Right. Okay. That's pretty quick turnaround. At least a tease, if anything. But yeah. Like Triple H has been cooking ever since, but we just let it slide that Nia Jax has been on a lot of pay-per-views.
I assume Nia wins this one.
Really?
Yeah, because you got Tiffany with the briefcase and she's with Nia. So you have that dynamic the whole time of when is Tiffany gonna cash in on Nia?
Okay. Right.
And it could be a way of like long-term turning Tiffany babyface because she's so popular right now.
Yeah.
And I think Nia's so disliked. I think when that eventually happens, I think it will like rocket.
But
Bailey's not really done much with this title, to be honest.
Yeah, like the WrestleMania was like the big moment, and then it just kind of like, I know last night she wrestled too. She had a great looking mask down in Mexico in her entrance. But I just the Nia stuff is like, you're not an effective heel. You still suck. You came back, and I just don't find anything.
She's better than she was, I think. I'm not a fan of her, but I think she plays this role well, and I think she has improved in ring. And I think as a story device to get eventually Tiff over, I think it could work.
So then we got Priest and Gunther, which we think Gunther's winning that title so that he can have Bash at Berlin and have come in as champion. No matter what his match is, it'll be awesome for them to see that. But that's kind of all that's been announced. So they're teasing the Bloodline stuff with Solo. I mean, Cody lost at Money in the Bank, so therefore possibly, Solo versus
Solo Cody looks like it's going to happen. We had Bloodline murdering Randy this week. Like I thought Jacob Fatu looked awesome this week, just letting him kill people.
Okay, nitpicking, but that moonsault doesn't look as good as I think they think it does because he doesn't hit any. I hate most guys who hit that moonsault
shooting.
That's not even knocking him. I think anytime anyone hits this move, they don't hit the move.
The triple spring one.
Anytime anyone hits that move, the crowd goes, oh, because you're triple jumping, but the guy's over there. It's like the Trump shooter. It's the guy's over there, and you're hitting your knees over there.
It's almost yet too much bounce that you overshoot it.
But then on the other side, the pop up Samoan drop is crazy. So shout out Umaga.
We could have Randy v Jacob Fatu.
Yeah,
at SummerSlam, and then I think
the big story is Cody Randy eventually.
Yeah,
right.
And then I think DIY versus the Tongans.
Oh God.
Right? Because they took them out this week after the match,
I guess.
And then you get the belts on.
So like I said, I'm not, this SummerSlam is I thought with the way things were going a month ago that we'd get certain matches, and going forward, I'm oh, we're not getting these matches. In fact, we're getting some of these. So I'm sure it'll still be a good show because, I really still enjoyed Money in the Bank for what it was worth. But on paper, it's not, I think, lining up to a lot of fans' expectations of maybe where we thought it was going to be going. I think so. I'm seeing.
I feel it's
Solo Cody. The story is
Solo Cody's disappointing.
There you go. And that's your main event.
Yeah.
Or is it Drew and Punk
But
the main event?
I would imagine that's leading to Roman's return after the match.
Yeah, I think Roman.
I think
appears.
that's how you're closing the show.
Yeah.
And Solo loses and Roman comes out and there's stare down with Cody and there's also the look at Solo like, what the fuck you been doing?
Right.
That kind of
yeah, I think that makes the most sense. But I think the big draw is Punk wrestling.
Yeah.
Or attempting to wrestle, hopefully. But yeah. Either way, like I might not have the most hype for it, but they've been on fire and putting out good stuff that no matter what, I still think it'll be a pretty good show. And you'll definitely send people home happy with Roman coming back and some things. But I imagine DIY dropped those titles to the Bloodline.
I would think so.
Unfortunately for them. But or maybe they save those titles for the new hottest tag team in WWE, Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin.
Cruise ships.
Terrible.
I like Baron now. Cruz not so much, but I'm a Corbin guy. After Wolf Dogs, like
Wolf Dogs,
he's got me.
And then another thing, it was I saw Chelsea Green in the neck brace.
Yes,
like her husband once did on Raw many years ago. So thought that was pretty good. She's been pretty funny.
She's been great.
She was reading a book like how to join a cult or something because they're dealing with the witches and like all this stuff. So that I thought that was pretty entertaining. Oh, and Pretty Deadly the musical.
Oh,
coming soon.
You've got my attention.
What would their musical look like?
Pretty gay.
What their gimmick is. Someone the other day was like, I don't get the Pretty Deadly because they're not gay, but they act gay. I'm like, that's fucking wrestling. There's been how many times doing the opposite, and then like I don't know, it's fucked. But...
Growing up as a straight theater kid, like I can relate.
Yeah, and then also Andrade. For a second I thought he was back on Dynamite, but no, he was just being interviewed in the empty arena by Byron, and then Mello interrupted. So we're going towards that.
Mello Andrade. Yeah, I thought those two shone in that men's ladder match. So I think that's a good follow up.
And I loved John Pollock interviewing Mello, talking a little bit about NXT and Trick Williams. If you haven't checked that out as well, that was a pretty sweet little interview there. So yeah, WWE, like I said, maybe my hype for SummerSlam isn't like as hype, but at the end of the day, I still think they're still on fire. They're still doing such a good job. And I am going forward. The Bad Blood hopefully is Punk, Drew in the cell. And they got things planned out for quite a while. And now letting your stars, wrestle in Noah, wrestle in Marigold, like this is, I think, just the beginning. And we might be seeing a lot more.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, it's a good time to be a wrestling fan because as much as you see the tribalism, it's more so like, hey, there's this you can watch. There's this you can watch. You can watch TNA. You can watch like Joe Hendry possibly going to win the Impact title.
WWE Hall of Fame
one day, but yeah, not right away. But I think he could be your Impact World Champion.
Yeah,
and have him kind of representing TNA with how popular he is that you can't imagine. Like that's the best move they could do.
Absolutely,
with him being super over. So yeah, a good time to be a wrestling fan because there is a lot of stuff, and I know you can pick and choose what you want to watch. But right now, there's a whole lot of everything, and WWE is somehow in put their foot in through the door of letting their wrestlers wrestle, that you're also getting like the good matches that AEW would put on without announcing stuff. You're getting that with your talent. So going forward, exciting stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. I know we didn't mention Dijak, but Dijak being on the open market now, being released from WWE, I think that's a kind of a drop opportunity there because like he kind of was getting good and then they just let him go. I think he'll have a lot of fun on the indies, possibly AEW. I'm not quite sure, but he was someone I was like, like big guy, maybe didn't show his personality enough on TV, but again, was just getting to that point that I was like, maybe he could.
He was missed potential for sure. Like I never understood why they didn't go with him more than they did. Like he's, as you said, big guy, got a look, can talk, can wrestle. But yeah, I'd be excited to see what he does on the indies. It's difficult because I think AEW's bloated and I don't think there's really place for a Dijak there right now. But doing a fun indie run for a bit, there's always potential to go back as well. I can see him back in WWE at some point.
Yeah, that definitely possible. Or like Ring of Honor, if that's the thing. I think it is. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see where he ends up. But there you go. That's everything that's going on this week in wrestling, and I hope you enjoyed us chatting about it. We'll be back on Tuesday night with a new Up Next covering everything from NXT over on the Post Wrestling feed. So hit that subscribe here. Follow all the socials, like we said, at Poisonrana Pod on Twitter and Instagram. And then check out all our shows over on our Patreon as well. If you like this, you'll like some of the other stuff. We got a lot of shows out there, including our shark reviews. Because if you go through the catalog, we got reviews of Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, but we also do lots of retro wrestling and a show called Was Next as well. So many other podcasts out there if you want to hear us talk about all that other stuff. Patreon.com/PoisonRana. And that's it.
That is all.
That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And it's coming home.
Ahoy!
Poisonrana.